This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. I stand with Dr. Chang. Robert Morgan backs Security Minister on shoot to kill. Cabinet Minister Robert Morgan has publicly supported National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang, who has controversially urged the members of the security forces to shoot to kill when confronted by gunmen. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, the state's oversight body, and the rights group Jamaicans for Justice have condemned the remarks from the Deputy Prime Minister. I stand with Dr. Chang and the police, said Morgan, the minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for information. If a criminal confronts you using deadly force, protect your life and that of our citizens, he tweeted on Friday. The Clarendon North Central MP also made reference to the murder of a mother and her 4 children in his constituency in June. I can't forget when the Clarendon 5 were murdered, some group were more interested in the fate of the confessed killer than the victims and their families, Morgan said, an apparent reference to JFJ's advocacy against the use of death penalty in crime fighting. According to Chang, the police should kill their attackers, noting that the country was spending too much to treat criminals at public health facilities. Chang, who Jamaicans have rated the worst performing cabinet minister and have expressed little confidence in his ability to get the country's crime situation under control in recent polls, made the comments on Thursday as he broke ground for the construction of the new Frome police station in Westmoreland. Anytime a man takes up a gun after a police officer, I expect Commissioner to train them so that when him fire, he must not miss, he said, adding, there may be fatal shootings because man shoots gun after them. I'm not telling any police not to fire back, and I said it here in Westmoreland. I am not sending any ambulance out there either. I don't want him to come and give any trouble to the hospital. I am not in that business. You go to hospital, it costs $10 million to save him life. I am not into that. When criminals see police come, he must surrender, he said, driving home the point. But INDECOM says all public officials should be guided by the Constitution of Jamaica in their statements and actions. In any confrontation, the law gives a primacy to the right to life, which is an inalienable constitutional right. The oversight body also stressed that access to medical attention should be afforded to all persons in keeping with the state's obligation to safeguard life. JFJ labeled Chang's statement as an unfortunate stance that could be interpreted as a tacit approval of extrajudicial killings. It said such an order and instruction to the security forces as a means for cracking down on crime is not only irresponsible but a clear violation of the right to life and security, as it could lead to further killings in the country while still not moving the country closer to addressing the high crime rate. Chang's suggestions should be rejected by all Jamaicans, the group said. Family stunned as a welcome party for brother descends into funeral plans. 2 days ago, Philip Dolphus Bennett was having a party with his relatives in the Walkers Hill area of Red Hills, St. Andrew, celebrating the visit of a brother from overseas. Today, the family is planning his funeral. Described as a quiet and hardworking man, Bennett was standing on the roadway about 7 a.m. on Friday, waiting to accompany his spouse to the bus stop when he was chopped by a machete-wielding man. 2 other persons were injured in the attack. The 74-year-old Mason was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The suspect, a man said to be of unsound mind, from the neighboring Belvedere Drive, was taken into custody. Up to late yesterday, the victim's family was still in shock. At this point, everybody is hypertensive now, Bennett's niece, Carla Lewis, told the news. Bennett's 6 children and other relatives are hoping that the man responsible for his death will be brought to justice. He doesn't go out unless he has to. He goes to work and then comes home. My uncle go to work, come in him yard. If him need to get a drink, him go cross the bar and buy him rum and come back over, Lewis said. Residents say the suspect is a self-proclaimed Obeah who moved to the area about 2 years ago and is often seen walking with a machete. He has always had a machete. He has never done something like this before, but he has always had a machete and had on water boot, one person told the news. Angry residents are suspected to have set his pig pen that contained a single animal ablaze in the aftermath of the attack. The fire later spread to his house. Head of the St. Andrew North Police Division, Superintendent Sherika Service, said the suspect is yet to be charged. She is appealing to witnesses to give written statements to the police. One of the main focus of the investigation is to get witnesses to come in and to say what they saw. When we went on the scene, persons were saying what they see, but to actually get it written, that's a challenge, she said. Up to September 14, the St. Andrew North Police Division had recorded 44 murders, 3 more than the corresponding period in 2021. Murder convict lashes judge. The 34-year-old man who was convicted for the gruesome 2019 murder of a Negro businessman and his Italian wife yesterday angrily chastised the judge, labeling him as a bias at the puppy show before he was slapped with 2 life sentences. You are yup like you're a parrot, and you ungla judge for your cheer. The incensed murder convict, who will have to serve 27 years in prison before being eligible for parole, told the judge. Standing restlessly in the dock, dressed in a printed red shirt and black pants, he directed his fury at Justice Courtney Day during his sentencing hearing in the Home Circuit Court. Levy was found guilty of murder and manslaughter on September 2 in the Westmoreland Home Circuit Court in relation to the killing of Osborne Richards, 49, and his 45-year-old wife, Patricia. The couple was hogtied and shot multiple times during a robbery on November 29 at their West End home. Levy, who was later found with some of the stolen items, was arrested and charged. But Levy got upset during the proceedings yesterday, claiming he was given a kangaroo trial and that the evidence was fabricated. He became heated after the judge pointed out that although he had confessed in a statement that he was present during the robbery, he gave the impression that all he did was watched, while claiming in a further statement that he only went inside after the incident to remove items from the home. This, however, did not sit well with Levy. "You go and talk, man," he said. The judge, however, told him that he was not going to frustrate the sentencing. "Only talk alone you can talk. You want prejudice judge, you bias, and you make man there. You want big prejudice judge. Me know me not get no sorry for from you," Levy said as he paced angrily back and forth in the dock. The judge, in reply, told Levy that when he was finished, he would continue, but the convict carried on. Justice Day then told Levy, who had 3 previous convictions, that what he was facing was the death penalty or life in prison, but that the prosecution had not asked for the death penalty. "You so know, man, you are one big puppy show," Levy continued, muttering as the judge spoke. "Still now make you better. You still have to dead like everybody," he added. The judge then advised him that in relation to the murder of the husband, he was going to sentence him to life in prison and that the starting point for parole eligibility would be 35 years. He, however, told him that he would take into account that he was not the principal offender and shave off 5 years as well as the 3 years for time spent in custody. As such, he would be eligible after serving 27 years. "By them time that you gone under earth, you dare go come," Levy replied. In respect to the manslaughter charge, the judge told him that he would similarly be sentenced to life in prison, but that he would recommend that he serve 25 years before being eligible for parole. Levy continued his antics. However, the judge, who was not moved, told him that he was behaving rather unusually, but he was not going to change the provision. At that point, Levy started to jeer the judge, saying, "Make sure you live forever. You're one big waste boy." After handing down the sentence, the judge instructed the police to immediately remove Levy from the court. In his parting shot, the convict said, "You still weak same way? You see how you walk weak like you want a lamp pile?" Father of raped and murdered 9-year-old hopes killer gets a lengthy sentence. Even as he accepted that Friday's second delay in the sentencing for the 17-year-old who raped, boogered, and strangled his 9-year-old daughter was unavoidable, a Westmoreland father couldn't help but wonder what penalty will eventually be handed down. His sentencing has been pushed back by a week. The teen convict was 13 at the time he killed the little girl, whom he lowered into bushes on their way home from school with talk of picking apples. They knew each other. Referencing the trial judge's earlier comment that a child cannot be given the death penalty, the father told the news he hopes the boy gets a lengthy stay in jail. A time where you know say you can stay a long time and reflect and say, you know say a stupidness me do. At the same time, it will show people that you can do things and get a walkover, come out back and do the same thing again, said the father, whose name is not being used to protect his daughter's memory. The 17-year-old convict has also not been named as he is a minor. The still grieving father is hoping that, in the future, the government will consider a harsher penalty for those found guilty of a similarly horrendous crime. The government needs to really take a look at what is going on in the country. It needs a stiffer penalty towards a certain area of crime where violence is happening amongst the young children of our country, he argued. He said parents who have done a poor job raising their children are also to blame. It boils back down to the parents not teaching their children morals, discipline, and behavior, he reasoned, while conceding that there are a number of factors that can cause such abhorrent behavior as that displayed by the teen who killed his daughter. He stressed that it is important for parents to keep an eye on their children and address any areas of concern before it is too late. A 6-member jury found the teenage boy guilty on July 1. During his trial, the court was told the boy sexually assaulted and killed the child after she accepted his invitation to pick apples as they walked home from school on June 5, 2018. Her body was found near a guava tree, which is about 15 to 20 feet from the apple tree. A post-mortem report presented in court showed that the child died of asphyxia caused by manual strangulation. She also had lacerations of the vagina and anus. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.